Twice You're Cheap, and welcome to Technique Thursdays. Yay! Today we're going to talk about cast-ons. I've got 4 different cast-on methods for you. Number 1 is long tail cast-on. Number 2 is backward loop. Number 3 is knitted on. And number 4 is cabled cast-on. If you can master those 4 cast-ons, you can cast on just about any project. So let's get started. For the long tail cast-on, you're going to need to pull your yarn into a long tail that is about 3 times the length of the project that you are making. So if you need it to be about this long, you're going to need about 3 times that amount in your tail. You're going to hold your yarn. This is your tail end. This is coming from my ball of yarn. So your tail goes over your thumb. You're going to grab both ends and grasp them in your ring finger and your pinky finger like so. You're going to make a nice triangle right here over the top of your fingers. You can take your needle, you're going to put it underneath the yarn here in between your thumb and your first finger. You're going to wrap it around your tail. You notice that there's kind of a hole created right here. You're going to put your needle tip through that hole, pull it over here, and you're going to grab your ball yarn right here and pull it back through that hole. You can see now I've got 2 stitches on my needle. I'm going to let go with my thumb and pull it tight. To make more stitches, you're going to stick your thumb underneath your tail yarn. Notice I didn't let go with this one, and I've kept these 2 fingers holding on to both tails. So you put your thumb back under your tail. You're going to go around the tail, through the hole, grab your ball yarn, and pull it back through. Release your loop and pull it tight. You don't want to pull it too tight, but pull it snug. Stick your thumb back underneath and repeat. Around your tail, through the hole, grab your ball yarn, back through, release. And keep going in this kind of rocking motion until you have the appropriate number of stitches on your needle. The long tail cast on is a great cast on and is considered by many to be the basic cast on because it makes a nice firm base that is super easy to knit into. The backward loop cast on was the first cast on that I ever learned. To do it, you start out by making a slip knot. So you're going to make a loop, fold your loop down, and grab your yarn. Pull it through, and you've now got a slip knot. You can put your slip knot on your needle, like so, and snug it tight. To make the backward loop, all you're going to do is, I usually do it by put my thumb under here, and I'm holding my yarn in kind of these 3 fingers right here. Put your thumb under your yarn and go around your yarn over here. Do you see how when you do that, you're going up through the bottom of a loop. And when you pull that tight, you've got kind of a backwards loop that has formed. And that's all you do is you repeat. So put your thumb under, rotate your hand underneath there, and pull snug. Thumb under, rotate, needle under here, through the hole, and pull snug. And just repeat until you have the appropriate number of stitches on your needle. This cast on, the backward loop cast on, is probably one of the easiest ones to do for a beginner, but it makes a very loose base right here, which makes the following row a little more difficult to knit into. The knitted on cast on also begins with a slip knot, but we're going to put it on our left needle and pull it snug. And we're going to put our working yarn in whichever hand you're most comfortable knitting with. you're going to just knit stitches on. If you know how to do the knit stitch, you can do this cast on. So you're going to put your needle through your stitch, like wrap it around, and you've just knitted a stitch. But instead of leaving it on your right needle, you're going to transfer it back to your left needle. Then you're going to knit through that stitch and slide it back on your left needle. We've now made 3 stitches, and we're just going to keep going, knitting on stitches until we have the appropriate number on our needle. The knitted on cast on also creates a nice firm base that makes it easier to knit through on your second row, but it has the added benefit of not having to worry about how much tail you need and running out accidentally. The cabled cast on also begins with a slip knot and is very similar to the knitted cast on, except that it creates a stretchier edge, which is my favorite to use for the tops of socks, etc. So we're going to put our working yarn in our favorite hand, whether that be right or left, and we're going to knit the first stitch just like the knitted cast on and slide it over to our left needle. But now, instead of knitting through the first stitch, we're going to knit in between the 2 stitches. So we'll stick our needle between the 2 stitches, wrap it around and pull it through, and then transfer it back to our left needle. So in between the 2 stitches, wrap your yarn, pull it through, and transfer it back to the left needle. This cast on is also super easy to do. It has the benefit of not having to worry about how much tail you need, and it does create a nice finished stretchier top or stretchier edge for the bottom of ribbing or the top of a sock.